All right, come on in, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages. If you're staring at the picture of those three handsome gentlemen, and I got to tell you, you're in the right place. Welcome back to Community Conversations presented by PECO. It's the fourth installment of this Black History Month, the fourth and final installment of Black History Month. But we want to let you guys know, as we learned throughout this whole month, that every month is indeed Black History Month. So we want to encourage you guys to learn a Black History Month fact a day. Makes the world a better place. We're going to get started in just a little bit. We got about a minute left to go. Got some great guests in here today to talk to you guys about some amazing things happening around the city of Philadelphia. All that and more coming up in just a little bit. It's Community Conversations presented by the one and only PECO, providing positive energy around the whole city of Philadelphia and a whole lot more. All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It is now time to get started with our fourth installment in Black History Month of Community Conversations presented by the one and only PECO, providing positive energy throughout the whole city of Philadelphia. It's your main man, Archie, Sixers in the Arena host. Happy Black History Month to each and every one of you guys. Got two amazing guests in the community today. I got Philadelphia 76ers alumni and co-founder of the HBCU Heroes program. My main man, George Lynch, is in the building. Yeah. Bring it up.
Thanks for the shout out.
What's going on, George?
All good, man. I love it.
And we got the man,
alumni.
Yeah, alumni, baby. We got the man who helped us kick off the whole Community Conversations back during when the quarantine first started last year. He's a Community Conversations regular. I guess he's a Community Conversations alum too. From the Black Cultural Center at the University of Penn, he is the director of McCoop. I believe that's how you say it. We got my main man, Dr. Brian Peterson, in the building. Yeah.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you.
Did I say that right, McCoop?
Yep, absolutely.
All right, man. Appreciate that. So we're going to get started right here. For all our young people in the building today, we want to just give them a little background of programs you have. We'll start with the HBCU Heroes program. George Lynch, give us a little background.
Well, HBCU Heroes started out when I got the opportunity to coach at Clark Atlanta 2 years ago. And I had family members, uncles and cousins that went to HBCUs, but because I was highly recruited, they didn't really recruit me. And then my only experience, being on an HBCU campus was when I attended North Carolina, Chapel Hill. We used to go up to the football games and homecomings when time allowed it. Which was, maybe 5 or 6 times, over 4 years. So I've really never had the experience, on campus, in the classrooms, outside of the party scene. I really never had that experience of an HBCU. Going through my first 2 years there at Clark, I saw the shortfalls that the athletic department was having as far as raising money, having resources for the proper equipment for their student athletes. And then when COVID hit, a lot of the minority students didn't have technology to finish their education off campus, because most of the students that go to HBCUs are, government assisted, need-based students. And, whether, if they had a laptop and they got broken or stolen, they weren't able to replace it. So, our first thing we wanted to do for the students on campus was, to level the playing field.
Yeah.
Whether it's, providing basketballs for basketball practice, making sure students got uniforms or sneakers, the things that, the larger universities or PWIs, their student athletes take for granted.
Yeah.
We didn't have a lot of that stuff at Clark. And so we started HBCUs, myself, Tracy Pennywell, who is also a Carolina alum. She lived in Atlanta and she jumped on board and said, George, I'm with you. I help you raise funds for the athletic department, and we started there. And then it went from Clark, and where we gave computers to Morehouse, we gave computers to Grambling, North Carolina A&T. So the goal is to help any HBCU or help any student who wants to attend the HBCU, help them through that process. And that's kind of how we got started.
That's amazing, man. So y'all got started recently, like last year?
No, it's been 2 years.
2 years now?
I'll say a year and a half. So yeah, right about a year and a half, there was a need, on campus, and part of, coaching at a historically Black college is to help bring in resources. And that was part of my job description.
That's all right there, man. I'm just trying to take notes and everything as we talk. Yeah. So y'all giving away free basketballs and computers is what you're saying.
well, we needed them for practice, man. We got there, someone had stole all the basketballs or didn't return them. So we had to, find other ways to make those have that equipment on campus for the student athletes.
No, that's big, man. Appreciate that. That's real big. Dr. Peterson, what about you, my good man, the Black Cultural Center? Give us a little background on that.
Yes, sir. So it's interesting listening to George's story and thinking about my story. So my mom went to a HBCU, been at college. My pops grew up around Tuskegee. So that was a sensibility that I had when I went to University of Pennsylvania, going to a predominantly white institution. I knew I wanted to find my people and really celebrate my culture. So when I was there at Penn, we didn't actually have Maku. Maku is 20 years old. So I'm really blessed to kind of come in and think about, what do our students need? Again, we're at a well-resourced Ivy League institution, but at the same time, as a Black student, you're going to have a set of experiences around how do you navigate the institution? How do you make sense out of where you are and really understand all these resources and how to utilize them? And also, how do we connect to Philadelphia? But for me, I think particularly around the Black Lives Matters movement, which we talked about throughout the summer, is how do we take all this energy and connect with the HBCU graduates, connect with the Philadelphians who may not ever set foot on a college campus, to think about how we build this Black empowerment base to help us all. So again, primarily I'm guiding students through Penn, but I'm trying to help them think about, how do you change the world, right? And I think that's the bigger question for all of us. So yeah, again, every day I wake up and I'm blessed to be in the position that I am to do this work.
Absolutely. So growing up, I was probably like most kids. You see the big colleges and universities on TV, and you want to become a part of them. I mean, I was a huge Notre Dame fan, wanted to go to the Golden Dome and play ball there, or, people want to go to Duke or North Carolina, where Jordan came from. So what's the importance of trying to get kids to realize that HBCUs are out there? And that's for both of you guys. Any one of you guys can answer that.
Yeah, I think my experience is seeing the most HBCU campuses are smaller, probably max, 4,000 to 5,000 students. So you're going to get that one-on-one class experience. At least for my student athletes, they all felt like the teachers cared about them. The classroom wasn't so big that they can go hide in the back. I remember in Chapel Hill, they used to check classes to make sure we sat in the front. At an HBCU campus, it's small enough that you can't hide. The teacher can reach out and touch you. So I think the care and the love and the nourishment that the teachers on the HBCU campus give you, because it's a smaller campus, and they look a lot like you. The majority of the teachers, professors, going to be Black, and the majority. I was in Atlanta, so it was a Black city. Well, you would say Atlanta is a Black city.
Absolutely.
And so you got to experience that also, with the size of a large city but a small town feel.
Okay. Anything you want to add on to that, my man BP?
Yeah, I would just add again, I think, in a lot of ways, HBCUs fly under the radar because of the size. I think about, when I was growing up and seeing Grambling football on TV, and that's where I first learned about it, but again, when you think about the history of sports and even Black baseball leagues, Black basketball leagues, like all these things, once you get access to the mainstream, you sort of lose sight. But HBCUs have been there and are still there doing amazing things, on on all levels. So for me, in my work through my book, Higher Learning, you know, we really talk about college access and college completion and really about fit. So if people are looking for a smaller environment or looking for something, if you've come from predominantly Black high school and you want to continue that experience, or, if, you know, again, if you think about some of the HBCUs in the STEM sector, for example, they're producing at a much greater rate than some of these other top name schools in terms of people who go on to get PhDs and MDs, right? So, you know, you got to do your research, think about what's going to be the best fit for you and apply to a range of schools, right? And once you have these options, if it makes sense financially, if it makes sense, you know, in terms of where you envision yourself to be at an HBCU, do that, right? You know, by all means, you know, and I think, again, it's just one of those things where we've got to keep everything on the radar, right? And not let things kind of drift off, because we're, you know, in some ways we're even minimizing them ourselves, saying, oh, well, they may not do this, they may not do that, and not actually do the research to say, well, look what's actually happening here, right? Look what they are doing, and get your facts straight and really understand there's a whole lot of value.
Absolutely. I think that small classroom environment is big too, like you guys were saying. I mean, when I was young and I was in school, I was sort of like the class clown, and I could get away with it in a bigger class, but in a small atmosphere, I think it's better for the class clowns to be snatched up in there. You know what I mean? That way the teacher could point you out and call on you when you need to. And you get, not only that, but you get the type of learning you need too, that hands-on training, that one-on-one training that you were talking about. That's big, man. Because sometimes you get lost in the crowd. Yeah.
Definitely.
So what are some of the barriers that you would say young people face on their roads to success?
I think not knowing, not doing your research, not having the access to, I'm working on, at HBCU Heroes, we're working on a fellows program. You know, a lot of times, like my parents didn't come from a corporate environment, so I didn't know how to pursue a corporate job. Where, you know, now we're working on educating those kids, get your resume tight, do your civic duties in the community. You know, what ideas do you have? Be intentional about what you want and your purpose. And a lot of times, because in the African American or minority communities, they just live in day to day trying to survive. And you don't have those conversations. The parents are always working. So I think that's some of the struggles. I think if we as a people can, you know, like you said, with all the energy behind Black Lives Matter, put some resources behind some of these students, because there's some bright students out there.
Yeah, absolutely. BP.
Yeah, I mean, I echo that 100%. I think, again, information is out there, but is it packaged in a way that people can really grab and hold and it makes sense to them? And again, you know, making stuff relevant and real life opportunities. Those are some of the limitations that I see every day. You know, I think you talk about mentoring, you could talk about networks, you could talk about all those things. But again, I think having the ability to make it real for our young people, because these kids are talented, you know, I mean, they're doing all sorts of amazing things, but if they don't know what else is possible because no one's kind of sat down with them to really help them see, and people can say, well, the information's out there, and that's true. But, you know, I think, again, to be able to say it's out there, but then to also have somebody in your immediate network who you can get the information from, that makes the world a difference. So, you know, we've got to think about, in this pandemic, how do we spend a little bit more time, each of us, on Zoom to connect with somebody, to share something, to make it real. And then that makes it more tangible, and then they can kind of get involved.
Well, speaking on networks, what's the importance on building a network? And how do we tell these young people to build a network during this whole pandemic crisis?
I think there's all the social media platforms. Be conscious of what you put on your social media. You know, you have LinkedIn. You know, if you have an idea or an interest, you know, reach out to people who has that same interest on those social media platforms, because you never know who will be willing to share some information, or who's looking for an internship. You know, we're taking interns. We're helping place interns at HBCUHeroes.org. You can go to the website. Reach out to us on social media. We have a relationship with Verizon, Intel, and Dell, and they're looking for interns, you know, through this pandemic. And a lot of it's virtual, so you don't have to leave your home. You just have to put the work in and be be purposeful of what you're trying to do and what you want to accomplish, because there are people out there that's trying to reach out.
Absolutely.
Yeah. As I was thinking about this question too, I thought a little bit about just my past, and I'm the second director at Maku. Like I said, Maku's been around for 20 years, and this is my 9th year. Prior to that job, I hadn't applied to a whole bunch of other jobs, and I've gotten a whole bunch of consulting things. I've written for different people. I've done all these things, and it's been really on referral, right? And I think, again, that's the value of a network, is once you get in with a circle of people and you do good work. That's the other thing too. People say it's not about what you know, it's about who you know. No, it's about both. You gotta know what you're talking about. I'm not gonna put somebody in the room just because they know me and I know they all know what they're talking about, right? Yeah. So you gotta have both together. But when you have that quality network, people who can set you up, then it makes all the difference. Like, people are calling you, and then you can tap into your network and refer people out to other people. But just that quality of being able to know that you have a foot in the door already because of your network, because somebody can vouch for you, it's a game changer.
Yeah. Would you say networking is a little easier nowadays because of social media than when it was back in the day when you had to actually go out and just meet people face to face?
Well, I think it's both. It's easier that you can have access only if you have the technology. A lot of times minorities don't have technology. I had 9 of my 13 student athletes at Clark didn't have computers. Mm-hmm. And they were all 3.5, 4.0 students, relied on the technology on campus. So we can say it's easier, but a lot of times families don't have Wi-Fi or good Wi-Fi, or they don't, everyone has a phone, but it's difficult to, fill a resume out on the phone, things like that. So I think it's both. And then they have to be able to verbally speak and say what they want and come across, when they do have that one-on-one in person or virtual, they can express themselves. So it kind of goes both ways, I think.
Gotcha.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I think, again, sometimes we rely too much on the technology when we do have it. And it's just this effort of, well, I'm just going to text you. Like, sometimes it's not a text. Sometimes it needs to be a conversation, right? Mm-hmm. And it's like, you need to have that skill too, to work a room. And sometimes we rely on just the ability to say, well, I can just post this thing. And like George said earlier, you got to be careful what you posting anyway, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
We're not thinking all the way through in terms of the long term, maybe how this is going to maybe damage your brand or damage your image or put you in a bad light. So I think, you kind of want to have that balance. And then at the same time, when you have access to technology, are you actually even using it to do the networking, right? Or are you just on there playing games and just scrolling and not really thinking about it from that mindset of, let me see what this person did? Because everybody, if you can research people on LinkedIn and see their whole thing, then when you have a face-to-face meeting, you have no excuse not to know. Like, I can look up everything about George Lynch right now if I have a meeting with him and say, boom, I'm ready to go. But if you're just like, let me just wait till I get there, it's like, well, you might blow the opportunity. So, that face-to-face is important, getting those soft skills down, and then knowing how to use the technology to kind of put yourself a little bit further along the track. All that, I think, is key to it.
Right on. Well, you guys, if you just joining, you're inside Community Conversations presented by PECO. In the building today, we got Philadelphia 76ers alum and co-founder of HBCU Heroes, George Lynch. And we got director of McCool, the Black Cultural Center at the University of Penn, Dr. Brian Peterson. And we're giving away a whole lot of stuff today, a whole lot of good stuff, a lot of stuff that we don't even have ourselves. We're going to give to you all today. We're giving away some Black History 76ers gear. And this is how you can win the gear. All you have to do is go follow Sixers Strong on Instagram and use the hashtag Community Conversations. Simply it. Follow Sixers Strong, hashtag Community Conversations. We're going to pick some winners later on and hook you guys up with some Philadelphia 76ers Black History Month gear. And George Lynch, Brian Peterson, we're going to get some gear out to you guys too as well, man, because we appreciate you guys coming in here.
Appreciate it. I got to rep my Sixers, man.
Yes, sir. All right, so let's what can young people do outside their education to grow as individuals and put themselves in a position to succeed. So just just in their neighborhoods or communities, I guess you would say, or even in their homes, what can they do?
Well, they can practice those skills, those speaking skills. Consciously be aware of what you post. Be intentional when you get up in the mornings, what you want to achieve, and write it down. Write it down, because a lot of things go on throughout the day. You know what you want to get done for the day, but sometimes you get sidetracked and can't accomplish everything. So just make a list. Like as professional athletes, I would always have a goal. I wanted to be the best in my neighborhood. I wanted to be the best in the park. I wanted to be, by the time I became a high school senior, I wanted to win a national championship. All those goals, I wanted to graduate from college. Write those things down. And I'm learning on the business side myself today is, write things down. Whoever you meet with, come across, reach out to them on LinkedIn, make that connection. Because like I said, I'm trying to figure out what me and Brian Peterson can do together up there at Penn and with HBCU Heroes, because we're trying to get some bright students, get the education that they need. So I'm throwing it out there.
Well, I have received the pass. But I appreciate that. And again, I mean, you just modeled it, right? So I think that's the thing that we want young people to think about is how do you take the opportunities and maybe in the moment, like go bigger, right? Think about what can be created through collaboration versus always thinking you got to do everything on your own. Because I think at the end of the day, when you can line up pieces and really get people plugged in to share a vision and to collaborate, that makes all the difference. But I would say for people to get to that point, to feel that confidence, look behind me, all these books, like I'm still going through them, but I think every day I try to carve out that time to think about what is something either I want to read to kind of calm my mind down, what is something I want to read to build a new skill. I'm trying to read as much as possible. And also I think again with the pandemic, the challenge is I'm really trying to read books. Like I'm on the screen all the time, and I've seen some of the literature around, taking breaks for your eyes away from the screen and just mentally, like even if you're on the screen and just watching a whole bunch of movies, like the pixels and all of that, like it's a lot of stuff that your eyes are processing, where a book, it's just black and white, it's ink. Right. So, giving your brain that time to calm down and use your own imagination, I think is really key. And the other thing I would say in terms of what young people can do right now, and something that I'm really, starting to value more, we're having a lot of challenges connecting with our students in terms of the Zoom program. And it's just not something that people are really all that into, because they're like, I got to be on for class. I got to do, everything is on Zoom. So what we've been trying to do is say, well, how do we do more one-on-ones, whether it's telephone call, or it could be on Zoom, but again, it's not a program, but it's an actual conversation. And the people who are around you, whatever your pod looks like just really invest in more time in those conversations. And maybe they can be with mentors, and maybe you can pick people's brains. I'm challenging people to talk to their elders, right? And get some of those old school stories, because this is the time now. We can't do a whole lot, but there's certain things that we may be overlooking in terms of those real deep conversations to really pick people's brains and think about what was their life like? How did they get to where they got to? And maybe what were some missteps? How do we learn from all that and really appreciate the value of each other's time and presence? That's been a difference maker for me.
That's all right. And I want to piggyback off something you guys said when you said it's important for the young people to write things down and to have goals. And it made me think of like positive affirmations, because in the African-American community, sometimes we don't always have someone there to motivate us. A lot of us come from single households with single parents, and they're working 2 or 3 jobs. So you don't have that motivation all the time, like, go get it, kid. I believe in you. So sometimes you got to pump yourself up. Sometimes you got to write down those positive affirmations. I can do this. I will do this. I will make this happen. And you got to motivate yourself and talk to yourself and look in the mirror every day and recognize that young man and that young woman you see. And you got to be responsible for building yourself up, because mom and dad might be out there working 3 or 4 jobs just to keep the lights on. So it's very important to write those things down, set those goals, and speak those positive vibes and affirmations into your life.
Absolutely.
All right, fellas, man. Well, we appreciate you guys coming out to Community Conversations. I know my man George Lynch is out there in North Carolina where the sun is shining. And I know he want to get outside and catch some rays in a little bit. So we're going to let you guys go in a second. But before you go, I want you to give these youngsters your 3 keys to success. Take your time. Take your time.
Go ahead, Brian. You go first.
Got it. So I would say for right now, number 1 is control what you can control. You know, I think we don't know what the pandemic is doing, but I think every day, if you can get on your grind and do what you need to do, that's what it is. I would say definitely don't get deterred by setbacks. You know, I think a lot of times, again, if something doesn't go your way, you can't just quit on it. You got to just keep it pushing, you know. And the last thing I would say is put in the work, you know. So once you make that commitment, like I said earlier, if your network is strong, but you're not putting in the work, then it may not amount to a whole lot of anything. So again, you know, do every day, like commit to what it is you're going to try to get done, put in your time, put in your work, and you'll see the progress, most definitely.
Yeah, I would like to say that being intentional about who your friends are, if they're not career minded like you might want to just, they are associates, people you see around and you talk to, but don't spend a lot of time, don't invest a lot of your time because time is valuable. Know what your ask is. You might meet someone that can really help you and you not knowing what you want to get out of them. I like Mr. Brian said, do your research, the group of people you're going to be around so you can ask that important question. Mm-hmm. And then have a 30-second elevator pitch about who you are, what you want to accomplish, what you have accomplished, and sell it. I think that's very important.
There it is, man. I could have said it better myself. How can these kids find out more information about the HBCU programs that you guys are doing at University of Penn and down at where you at, the Heroes program, George?
We're doing some great things. We're trying to introduce kids to the esports and the business side of esports. It's $1 billion industry. A lot of the Black schools can really tap into this because, you know, a lot of the star athletes go to PWIs. And this is a way that the STEM and the education and engineering that a lot of HBCUs offer can take advantage of having an esports program. So that's the goal that we're on. And I could be reached. We're all on all the social media platforms, Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, at HBCU Heroes.
There it is, at HBCU Heroes. Dr. Brian Peterson.
Yep, same social media, MAKUU. Just put it in. We'll come up on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all of that. You can also check out learnhire.com. That's my college access and completion space where we're doing a lot of work just around trying to help people find their passion and get through successfully. So, yeah, we're out here.
We out here, baby. We out here, y'all. Dr. Brian Peterson said we out here. We appreciate you guys, man, coming out to the last community conversations of the year. But remember, Black History Month is not just in February. It is indeed every month of the year. So we want you guys and encourage you guys to learn a Black History Month fact today to make the world a better place. We believe in you guys and your keys to success. Always stay Sixers strong. And we got to give away some prizes too. So remember, follow Sixers Strong on Instagram. Use the hashtag Community Conversations to win some African-American Black History Month swag from the Philadelphia 76ers. Until next time, make your community a positive one. Shout out to PECO, Dr. Brian Peterson, George Lynch. Go enjoy some of them sunshine, baby.
Yes, sir. Yeah, thanks for having me.
Appreciate you guys, man.
All right.